What I'm doing is not something that a beginner should attempt. And by beginner, I mean somebody that's not had any experience building a gun.
The idea of gun and danger makes sense to Rick Larnard, long before ever getting the trigger into place. Eventually it's turkey in the crosshairs, but right now it's just him, surrounded by the sharp. And no matter how careful, this job comes with pain.
I misjudged the distance, apparently. I cut way into here. They had to remove the entire thumbnail, and it's, as you can see, it's still not grown back yet. So when I say that I put blood, sweat, and tears in my calls and guns, I really mean it. There was a lot of blood, quite a few tears, and I apologize to my neighbors for teaching their kids new words.
This is what's worth the pain. Flintlock long rifles, brand new in his shop, while touching time from centuries ago.
You had flintlock ignition shoot back in the 1400s, 1500s. Back when the Chinese invented black powder, they created the ignition by which to ignite it. And it's just evolved from there. They're very graceful, they're sleek, and they're long, and they look really nice. And the farther along you get in that time period, the more ornate they become, and they look just like the guns that you would see on Last of the Mohicans.
Just like it's supposed to.
I have a passion for early American history, and of course the Pennsylvania long rifle played a huge role in the forming of our country. So I just, it was natural for me to want to do that.
Brothers of the highway, children of the wind.
With bluegrass music in the air and a patriotic passion for perfection, he creates, with a nod to Independence Day, well aware that independence is part of his workday every day.
But when you build it from scratch, everything you do is on you, including your mistakes. There goes one.
Mistakes that could affect the day out here. Rick's homemade flintlock rifle is his best companion when hunting turkey.
That bird that we heard, the very first one that we heard, was all the way up.
Of course, you can't shoot a turkey if you don't see a turkey, so the call you make is critical. And for Rick, the call he makes is from the call he made. In the shop, the search is for the right angle, perfect pitch, and exact friction that will attract a bird. Oak box calls are his best. But any hunter knows, with turkey, there's no guarantee.
You can never tell with a turkey. Some days they'll gobble their fool heads off, and other days they just are as tight-lipped as can be, even though they're there and they can hear you. For a bird that has a brain the size of a pea, it's amazing how many times they teach me lessons.
The challenge at the workbench can only pay off in the woods.
All these things, you put them all together and you can create a sound that will actually lure a turkey into gun range and you harvest that turkey. That's just amazing to me.
His love for the hunt and the outdoors started early, as a boy in Philadelphia.
I have always been an outdoors person. My father used to take us to Canada on fishing trips from the time we were little.
Loved it so much he felt the need to protect it, and spent 20 years as a Pennsylvania wildlife conservation officer.
Mostly about some really good cases that the game wardens won the day. A couple in there that we weren't so lucky, but for the most part, it's all good stuff.
In 2009, he moved to Tennessee and still wears a badge. He's now police chief in the small town of Gainesboro.
Everybody knows everybody, and I honestly feel like Andy Griffith whenever I'm out on patrol. Everybody waves to me, I stop and chat with people all day long, and I love that.
The Southern style for a Philly guy has taken hold.
The pace of life is so much slower here in Tennessee. People are just so much friendlier, and I don't know, I just can't say enough good about it. Tennessee's an awesome state.
Tell me back out at 112.
Awesome, and the streets of Jackson County are without one big Pennsylvania hassle.
Our bears. As a conservation officer, that was one of the things that kept me busy in the summer, was marauding black bears. And they can cause some damage, especially in town.
With most of his life spent contributing to the spirit of the outdoors by what he makes and by what he has done, for years friends have been saying, you should write a book. And now he has, full of the natural life he's lived.
Rivulets of water run down the sides of a small buck, the rain on his back glistening in the glow from my headlights. He soon runs into the woods. Archery season is just around the corner, and I silently wish him luck. All right, let's see what she does. Just like it's supposed to.
The satisfaction of handing joy to a fellow hunter by the rifle or call he created keeps him going. It's a wild side bond.
It's being out in the woods. It's listening and seeing and smelling everything that nature has to offer. Only if you've been there and seen it and smelled it and heard it do you know what I'm talking about.
And if that's you, you know why he's back at that workbench, still making that joyful noise.
I just can't sit around and be idle, and I enjoy doing this so much that, yeah, I'll do this until I can't stand behind the bench anymore.
I'm Terry Bolger on Tennessee's Wild Side.
I'd love to go back to my home in Jackson County.